Plagiarism is a type of stealing. The Oxford English Dictionary says it is literary theft, the action or practice of taking someone else's work, idea, etc., and passing it off as one's own. It is possible to plagiarize any creative work, such as essays, novels, songs, and art. Plagiarism is always a serious offense. In the professional world, it can result in losing a job, costing money, and have legal consequences. At school, the consequences of plagiarism can include failing the assignment, failing the course, suspension, or even expulsion. There are several different kinds of plagiarism, and people sometimes plagiarize accidentally. Let's go over the rules. This will only be a short overview. To learn more, go to the library's guide or take the CAS workshop on plagiarism. Some common examples of plagiarism include turning in someone else's paper as your own, using the words of a source without quotation marks or a citation, taking an image, chart, or statistic from a source without a citation, or passing off someone else's idea as your own. Turning in your own paper to more than one class is also plagiarism. Taking the words from another text and putting them into your own paper without acknowledging the source is plagiarism. Sometimes people take just a paragraph, or a sentence, or mix up some phrases, but that is still plagiarism. The correct way to use another person's words is in a direct quotation. The words are put into quotation marks and correctly attributed to the author. In a research paper, you would say something like, "Neil Gaiman asserts that libraries really are the gates to the future." Exactly how you do the attribution depends on what style you're using, but in all cases you must use quotation marks and say where the words came from. You can also paraphrase a source by putting an author's idea into your own words. This is called an indirect quotation and does not use quotation marks. You still have to attribute the idea to the author. For example, you might write, "Gaiman argues that public libraries are essential to the future of our society." You are not using the exact words. Instead, you are communicating the idea in your own words. Be careful, though. It is plagiarizing if you only replace some words with synonyms. Another tool you can use is summarizing, when you describe an idea in your own words and in a much shorter way. Like a paraphrase, the idea must be attributed to the original author, but it is presented in a short, quick way. For example, the Harry Potter series is the story of a neglected boy who has to learn to defeat the world's most evil wizard. In all cases, you must cite your sources, but that is the subject of a different video. You can learn about citations at the library website or from CAS tutorials. Is it possible to plagiarize yourself? Yes. Reusing ideas or writing from a prior paper you have written is plagiarizing, and is usually against academic honesty rules. If you want to use previous work in a class, talk with your instructor. Let's talk about avoiding accidental plagiarism. When doing your research, keep careful notes. If you find an article that you think is helpful, it's a good idea to email it to yourself so that you can always find it. If you write down an idea, always put the attribution right there so it doesn't get lost. If you write down a direct quotation, put the quotation marks and attribution in right away so you don't forget that it is a direct quotation. Get in the habit of paraphrasing and summarizing, while also noting where the ideas came from. You can always ask for help from a librarian, a tutor, or your instructor, and you can consult materials like the library's guides, the Purdue Online Writing Lab, or the APA or MLA style guides. If you need to know more or have questions, contact the library.